Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today's class will be a really nice restorative yin yoga class, especially for the legs. So really great if you do a lot of running or just in general are standing on your feet a lot. This class is for you. Okay, you want to have maybe a pillow. I'm using a bolster, but you can use any pillow, a block, anything that can elevate you up slightly. So let's get started. We're going to start in a nice comfortable seat of your choice. Rolling the shoulders away from the ears, dropping them back and down. And starting by deepening the breath. Allowing your inhale to grow long. And your exhale even slightly longer. And our deep belly breath will sign the body that it's time to slow down, to settle in the moment on your mat, and become present in the here and now. We're taking a few breaths here. And then slowly opening the eyes if you'd like. We are going to make our way on towards hands and knees. And then from our tabletop position, we are going to start by stepping the right foot forward in between the hands. And the left knee can walk back slightly if needed. Now I know this is quite a tough pose for some, so you can always bring a bolster kind of underneath the legs, so just to lean into it a little bit more. And maybe you want to bring a pillow underneath the knee if that's something like a sensitive area for you. We're going to stay here. You can walk the hands towards the inside of the foot if that's more comfortable for you. And just allowing yourself to kind of rest here. Finding your breath. about halfway through the pose, so if you want to find any adjustment, maybe deepen the stretch by bringing yourself down and towards the forearms, or maybe the forearms come down towards a block. And if you're okay where you are, or rather ease out a little, then that's perfectly fine too. About 3 more deep breaths here. And on your next exhale, slowly coming out of the pose. Maybe you want to straighten out the right leg for a moment, point the toes towards the face. If any gentle movement feels good, rolling forward and then extending the leg back out. Rolling forward, extending the leg back out. That's an option. Of course, you don't have to do it if you'd rather just come into a comfortable seat, then that's perfectly fine too. Taking a moment here. Notice any difference between the left and the right leg, if there is any, of course. You're doing great. We're going to come into the same pose on the other side. So we're going to start again from our tabletop position. And then from there we are going to step the left leg now in between the hands. If you want to deepen, right foot can walk back. And then maybe you use the bolster underneath the right quad. And maybe you bring the hands towards the inside of the foot. And then we're going to start our pose here. about halfway through the pose, so if you want to find any adjustment, please feel free to do so now. Two more deep breaths here. And then on your exhale, you can make your way back up to center. And again, if you want to move through any movement, see if that feels good. And then we make our way back into a seat, any comfortable seat of your choice. And again, see if you can feel any difference between left and right. Great. From there, we are going to bring the feet together, bring the knees nice and wide, coming into a child's pose. Now, two options here. You can just let yourself come into your child's pose as is, or if you'd like to use any prop support, you can bring a cushion, a pillow, anything you have in between the legs, and then rest your head towards the cushion. So see what works best for you today. Some days one version might feel nicer, the other day another version might feel nicer. So just note, see what works, and then we're going to make our way into our child's pose. Take in 5 more deep breaths here. And then on your next exhale, you can slowly make your way back to center. And then from there, we are going to come into our next pose. So we are going to come into a wide-legged seat. And again here, it's not necessary to come into full splits. Just anywhere you can still comfortably go. Now, it might be really nice to grab your pillow here because we're going to fold forward. A few options are here. If you have quite a deep forward fold, naturally you can place the pillow low and you can fold over there. If you know you struggle a bit more with your folds, you might like to place a bolster here and rest your forehead on it. Or maybe you have a block or two and you can stack the blocks on top of each other and then rest on it there. I'm going to place the bolster in front of me. And then we are going to make our way down into our straddle fold. Continue finding that deep belly breath. We're about halfway through the pose. And we'll be taking about 5 more deep breaths here. And then slowly make your way back up to center. Moving your pillow aside. Slowly bringing the legs back together. If you want any windshield wiper movement, feel free to do so. And otherwise, we are going to come back into our tabletop on hands and knees. And we're going to come back into our lizard on the right side. So right foot steps forward. This time, you might like to keep it in a little bit of a closer stance. We're going to add a quad stretch. Now this might already be enough for you. We're not going to hold this pose too long. Or if you can, maybe you reach the hand towards the leg and then you can pull the foot closer in. Now if you're pretty comfy here, you can always make your way down on towards the forearm or just stay here for the first half of the pose. And then in the second half, you might notice you are already a little bit more loose and then want to go slightly further down. Like I promised, not holding it for too long, so we're about halfway. If you want to go further down, feel free to do so. Slowly release the hold of the foot, press yourself back up on towards the hands, step the right foot back to meet the left, take a moment in your seat. Moving into the same pose on the other side, left foot steps in between the hands. Right knee can walk back, but maybe a little bit of a closer stance is more comfortable here. You're going to bend the right knee, left hand reaches back. And then this is your pose. To deepen, you can always pull the leg a little bit more in towards the glutes. About halfway through, if you want to deepen, feel free to do so. And then slowly release. Making your way back up to center, stepping one foot next to the other, finding your seat. Good. For our next pose, you might like to have a pillow. We're going to come into our yogi squat. Now, for some people, this is easy. I'm personally a person that finds a yogi squat not too tough. But for someone else, this might be a bit more challenging. It depends a lot on your hip mobility, ankle mobility. So we're gonna come here. Then if you want to bring a pillow underneath your sit bones, then feel free to do so, and it might help you actually a lot to keep the pose more comfortable. Hands can come in front of the heart, and see if you can just lengthen the spine as much as comfortable. If you want, the head can just like be neutral. You want to keep it relaxed. Finding your breath here. Keeping your deep belly breath going. And staying here for about 5 more deep breaths. And then slowly releasing the pose, making your way into a seat. We're going to extend the legs out in front of us. And then we're going to fold forward here again. Pillow could be really nice, placing the pillow on top of the legs and then folding over there, or maybe you just want to fold into your natural forward fold. And again, finding your breath, using the deep belly breath to kind of deepen the relaxation in the pose. Staying here for about 5 more deep breaths. And then on your next exhale, making your way up to center and then all the way down on towards the back. Bringing the knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a big hug. Maybe you want to roll a little side to side over the lower back. And then we're gonna place the left leg down. Right knee comes in towards the chest. We're gonna point the toes up towards the sky and then bring the right ankle on top of the left thigh. Now you can stay here if this is already enough of a stretch, or maybe you want to interlace the hands behind the hamstring or behind the shin of the left leg. About 5 more deep breaths here. And then on your next exhale, release the hold of the left foot. And then rather than going back to neutral, we are going to slide the right leg all the way over towards the left. You can stay here, or maybe it's available for you to wrap the foot around the calf. So wrap around a second time. Then we're going to bring our hips towards the right, drop the knees over towards the left. You can always use a pillow underneath the knees if that's more comfortable for you. And then refining our twist. If this pose does not serve you at all, you can come into a normal supine twist, maybe with both thighs stacked on top of each other. That might probably be the most comfortable. So see what works and adjust the pose if needed. Taking about 5 more deep breaths here. And then slowly bring the legs back to center. Unravel the legs. Just take a moment into a neutral position. Notice how you feel. And then same 2 poses on the other side. So we're going to start by taking the left knee in towards the chest, pointing the toes up. Bringing the left ankle over the right thigh and maybe staying there, wrapping the hand around the hamstring or the shin. Taking about 5 more deep breaths here. Slowly releasing the hold of the right foot, bringing the left foot over the right, wrap around once or twice, and then finding your twist, either with prop support or just as is. Taking about 5 more deep breaths here. And then slowly making your way back to center, unravel the legs. And then from there, if you want to put on some comfy socks or wrap a blanket, please feel free to do so now. And then we're going to extend one leg out, followed by the other. And rest the hands down next towards our body, palms facing up. Finding our Shavasana, our final resting posture. Allowing the body to grow heavy in the mat. Finding rest. We're going to leave it here for today. If you want to extend your Shavasana, you can click the video on the right for a 10-minute Shavasana extension. Otherwise, I'd like to say thank you so much for practicing with me, and namaste.